there, fantasy owners. Welcome to LTC Fantasy here. Not sure if you're chiming in watching via YouTube or listening via podcast, but really do appreciate you watching the episode no matter how you're streaming it. I'd like to take a moment to thank our new subscribers and current subscribers. Really do appreciate the support. And if you don't currently subscribe, don't forget to do so, as we have 3 episodes that come out every week to hopefully help strengthen your fantasy roster or find that edge for you to get your fantasy win or move up in the standings. And we also have our daily shorts that come out that look at 3 players for the next day's games to hopefully, if you're in a pinch, find somebody to give you that little bit of an edge for your fantasy league there. Today's our waiver wire episodes. We're going to look at some goalies, some defensemen, and some forwards that have low ownership, that have either started out strong or might get a little bit added opportunity due to injuries, etc., to hopefully help strengthen your roster, not only for this week, but hopefully future weeks as well. So we'll get right into it. Some goaltenders to look at here. First one is Carter Hart from Philadelphia there. He's owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues. He's currently 2-0-0. He has a 2.00 goals against average and 940 save percentage. Really great start for him to start out. Maybe he's a young kid, lots of talent there. Philly should be better than they were last year. Kind of hard to be that kind of a tire fire again. So with that, Hart should have some more fantasy relevance for you. Next one's Linus Ullmark from Boston, owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues. Currently, he's 2-0-0 as well. He has a 2.5 goals against average and 934 save percentage. With that, some really nice numbers. Him and Swayman are playing in tandem, but Swayman's struggling out of the gate, and with that, might create a little more opportunity for Ullmark to get a few more starts than Swayman, and with that, increases fantasy value for you. Next one's Philip Grubauer from Seattle, owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues. He's 0-1-1 with a 4.26 goals against average and 851 save percentage. Yes, he has struggled since coming over to Seattle, struggling a bit to start this year, but Seattle is an improved team. Will they be a playoff team? By no means. Will they even be close? But with being an improved team, it should help him improve his numbers and become a little bit more fantasy relevant, especially if you're looking for a goalie due to injury like Murray, etc. Same with the next one, Vitek Vanecek from New Jersey, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues. He's 0-1-0. Only played the 1 game, gave up 5 and a 773 save percentage. So yeah, it was an ugly first game for him, but New Jersey is a pretty good team. Blackwood, who he's playing in tandem with to start the season, he's had his injury concerns the last couple of years, and with the injury concerns with Blackwood, New Jersey being a stronger team, Vanecek might prove to be a decent pickup if you need a goalie, again, due to injury, etc. there. And the last one's John Gibson from Anaheim, owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues. So far he's 1-2, ugly 5.96 goals against average and 872 save percentage. But with that, if you do have an injury, he does get a ton of starts, so he does play a lot. He's definitely not going to have give up 6 a game throughout the course of the season. And his save percentage is well over 9 career-wise, so those numbers should improve. Might be able to sneak out a few wins here and there. Wins are still going to be hard to come by in Anaheim, but might be a decent depth move if you're in need of a goalie. So we'll move along to some defensemen. First one is Shane Gostisbehere from Arizona. Owned in 38% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second pairing and top power play unit. Also gets second unit PK time. And he's had a hell of a start. 5 points in 3 games. 9 shots on goal and 5 blocks. Of course, he won't keep up that kind of production, 5 points every 3 games. But he should be a pretty good fantasy player for you year-round, other than plus-minus. Plus-minus is definitely going to hurt in the desert, but other than that, should put up some decent stats for you. Next one is Justin Schultz in Seattle, only owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second pairing and top power play unit. So far, he's put up 3 points in 4 games and has 8 shots on goal. So pretty nice start for him. He's getting more opportunity in Seattle, not buried behind Carlson and Orlov, etc. So with that and getting some power play time, he has produced. And other than done, he should be getting power play time throughout the season, whether it be the first unit or second unit. So he should be a decent contributor, more of a depth defenseman on your roster there. Next one's Ivan Provorov from Philly, owned in 55% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top pairing. And for all kind of Cats leagues, what a darling so far the first couple of games there. He's put up 3 points in 2 games, has 9 shots on goal, 9 hits, and 11 blocks. Like, he's putting up numbers no matter what the category, so he has been very relevant. Should be, at the very worst, a decent depth defenseman for you no matter what format you're playing in. Might turn out to be a really good defenseman for you if you're play where there's a lot of categories being scored on there. Next one's Mario Ferraro from San Jose, owned in 10% of Yahoo leagues. Currently on the third pairing, but gets second unit power play time and top PK unit time. So far, he's put up 3 points in 4 games, and he has 10 blocks. So he's getting a ton of ice time there. We always knew he could block. He already has 10 already this year. But it's the offensive production. With Burns being shipped out, he's getting more offensive opportunity there, and it showed so far this year. Will it keep up? Hard to say. San Jose is going to struggle, but his numbers offensively should be better than they were last year. Next one is Ben Sherratt in Detroit, owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top pairing there and also plays on the top penalty kill unit. So far, he's put up 2 points in 3 games played. He has 6 shots on goal, 7 hits, and 5 blocks. On that top pairing, he's playing with Sider there, getting lots of ice time, should be able to get some piggyback points. So I do see him always being decent in hits and blocks, but getting a little bit more offensive production. Next one is Hampus Lindholm in Boston, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit. So far, he's put up 2 points in 3 games, has 4 shots on goal and 4 blocks. Really, with McAvoy and Grzelcyk out, longer term, out at least another month, maybe 2 months there, he's getting every opportunity. And with that, he should be a decent depth defenseman for at least the next 4 to 8 weeks there. Next one is Matt Dumba in Minnesota, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second pairing there. And so far, he's put up 2 points in 3 games played. He has 7 shots on goal and 5 hits. Nice, well-rounded defenseman for you. Of course, with him, health is a concern, but so far so good, knock on wood. Mind you, not much runway, only 3 games in. But if he does stay healthy, he should be a decent depth defenseman for you. Next one is Matt Roy in LA there, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second pairing and also get some penalty kill time. So far, he's put up 2 points in 4 games played, and with that, decent production, half point per game, but he's also had 13 blocks and 8 hits, so those secondary Cats are really where his value is really coming into play, and if he tends to even average 30 points over the season, he should be a decent depth defenseman in certain, depending how your league is scored anyways. Next one is J.J. Moser in Arizona, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, so basically available everywhere. He's playing on the top pairing, also getting top unit power play time and top PK time. He has 3 points in 3 games played, and he's had 6 blocks in those 3 games. With Chychrun out, he's getting more opportunity, and if he continues to improve, he's going to force himself to get some more opportunity even when Chychrun returns there. Next one is Vince Dunn in Seattle, owned in 39% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top pairing and second power play unit. So far, 2 points in 4 games played, so half point per game, little better than he was last year, and 6 shots on goal. With that, he's going to get power play time, might even bump up to first unit depending with Schultz, etc. But he will be one of the focal points on the back end and should be a decent depth move for you in most formats there. Next one is Eric Gustafson in Washington. Available everywhere, 0% owned. Playing on the third pairing, but does get second unit power play time. He does have 2 points in 4 games so far with 4 shots on goal and 6 hits. He's hitting a little bit more than he usually does there. With that, he's a pure offensive play because he is an offensive defenseman because he does have his defensive liabilities. But if he's slotted right in Washington, he should get some decent production for you. And don't forget that just a few years ago, he did have a couple really good seasons in Chicago there. So in a deep league, he might be a decent depth move for you. And the last defenseman is Keandre Miller for the Rangers there, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that second pairing, and so far he put up 2 points in 4 games, so half point per game, better than what he was last year. Mind you, again, not much runway, only being 4 games in. But he has fired 9 pucks on net, so he's shooting more so far, and he has 8 hits, so if hits are counted in your league, he might be a decent depth option for you. So we'll move along to some forwards. The first one is Nino Niederreiter from Nashville there, playing on the second line and second power play unit, listed as a left winger, owned in 37% of Yahoo leagues. So far he's potted 4 goals in 4 games played. He's also had 10 shots on goal and 10 hits, so quite a few shots and hits so far to start the season. And with him being in the top 6 and not the bottom 6 like he was most of the season in Carolina, he's getting more opportunity and it's starting to pay off and should be fantasy relevant as long as he stays in that top 6 there. Next one is Travis Konechny in Philly, listed as a right winger, owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top line and top power play unit. Off to a really good start, 4 points in his first 2 games there with 6 shots on goal. He does shoot the puck a lot, even last year, which was a down year for him. He did get quite a few shots on goal. This year, playing on that top line, getting most of the prime minutes there with some people moving onward like Giroux, etc., starting to pay off offensively for him. Next one's Martin Nikas in Carolina there, listed as a right winger, owned in 28% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that second line and second power play unit, and off to a really good start. He's put up 5 points in his first 3 games there, has 9 shots on goal. Similar to Niederreiter, he's not in the bottom 6 right now, he's up in the top 6, and he is an offensive player, so if he gets those prime minutes, he should continue to produce, and should be a decent depth player going along. Next one's Gabriel Velarde in LA, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that third line and second power play unit, and that third line in LA has really been producing, so Velarde has 5 points in 4 games played with 10 shots on goal. As long as that line continues to produce, they get some favorable defensive matchups, which should increase their chances. Don't see why you wouldn't pick him up in a deeper league there. Next one's one of his line mates, in Alex Iafallo, listed as a left winger, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that third pairing and second power play unit. He also gets top unit PK time, so he does get a lot more ice time than a normal third liner there. And he's also put up 5 points in 4 games, so similar to Velarde, as long as that line's producing, getting some favorable matchups, they should get some offensive zone starts, etc., and should continue to produce. Going over to Seattle, look at Alex Burakovsky, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 36% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top line, second power play unit there, and he's had a good start, putting up 5 points in his first 4 games with 10 shots on goal. Of course, not going to keep up that over a point per game production, but he was fantasy relevant in Colorado as a secondary piece, and now he's a primary piece in Seattle, so he will get even more opportunity there and should be able to produce. Next one is one of his line mates in Matty Beniers, listed as a center, owned in 50% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top line and top power play unit. So far, good for the rookie there. He's put up 4 points in his first 4 games played, has 9 shots on goal, and also mentioned he has 4 blocks. You don't see a lot of young players block the puck, but he's doing it so far there. point per game player so far. Of course, you probably won't keep that up as a rookie, but should be a decent complementary piece on your fantasy roster. Next one's Mason Marchment in Dallas, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 35% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line and second power play unit. He's so far so good for him too. 5 points in 3 games played, 9 shots on goal and 4 hits. He did spend most of his had a pretty good season last year and spent most of his time on the third line in Florida. Now he's up in that top 6, getting a little bit of power play time, etc. Should hopefully produce as a top line in Dallas with Hintz, Robertson, and Pavelski. Probably get the tougher defensive matchups there. Next one is Victor Olofsson in Buffalo, listed as a right winger, owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that top line and second power play unit. Only played 2 games so far, but he has 2 goals in those 2 games and 7 shots on goal. So as long as he stays on that top line, he can be a little bit streaky, which can be frustrating. Got him in my Dynasty League. Have to say that sometimes he really frustrates me. But when he does produce, he is a very good player, so might be one that you dress for a week and kind of sit for a game or 2 if he's on a cold spell, etc. But be a decent pickup in a deep league anyways. Next one is Jaden Schwartz in Seattle there, listed as a left winger, owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line, second power play unit, also getting some PK time there. He's put up 3 points in 4 games, so pretty decent production for more of a depth piece. And in that he has 13 shots on goal and 8 hits. So if hits are counted in your league, that might be somebody to consider as a depth player there. Next one is Ryan Strome in Anaheim, listed as a center, owned in 19% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that top line and top power play unit. So far 3 points in 3 games played. So he is... Yes, he did play on the second line for the Rangers, but he's playing top line minutes now, and with that little bit of ice time, might help him increase production a little bit there. Next one is Jason Zucker in Pittsburgh, listed as a left winger, only owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, as he's really struggled the last few seasons, but playing on that second line and second power play unit. So far he has 3 points in 3 games played, with 9 shots on goal and 8 hits. He's starting out on Malkin's wing there, and with that, knocking Kapanen down the depth chart a bit. He is starting to produce. Can he keep that up? Hard to say, because the last couple of seasons have definitely been underwhelming. But he has shown that when he did play with Crosby when he first came over, and with Malkin now, he is producing. So as long as he stays in that top 6 role, should be able to produce for you. Next one is Pavel Zacha in Boston there, listed as center left wing, only owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line and second power play unit, and so far so good for him too. 3 points in 3 games played with 9 shots on goal. He's playing on Pasternak's line right now, and with that he should be able to get some assists. You just feed him the puck and let Pasty bury it there. Next one is TJ Oshie in Washington, listed as center right winger, owned in 36% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that second line and top power play unit, and he's put up 3 points in 4 games played. He has 9 shots on goal and 10 hits, so really the secondary production is good. Injuries really a concern with Oshie, but as long as he's on that top power play unit, might be worth just being a depth piece, as their power play is pretty good with Ovechkin firing the puck there. Next one's Nick Suzuki in Montreal, listed as a center, owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top line, top power play unit, and second penalty kill unit. And off to a really good start. 5 points in 4 games played, 13 shots on goal, 5 blocks, and 5 hits. So he's kind of contributing in every category, especially offensively there. And that top line should be really good in Montreal this year with him and Caulfield on it. Next one's Ryan Johansson in Nashville, listed as a center, owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues, centering that second line and top power play unit. So far he has 3 points in 4 games played. He had a really good season last year and off to a good start this year. 7 shots on goal and has thrown 8 hits. He's thrown the body a bit more than he has in the past, at least to start the season, and might be a decent depth option in a deeper league for you. Next one's Eli Tolvanen, listed as a left winger, owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second line and second power play unit. So far, he's put up 3 points in 4 games played. He has 9 blocks, so quite a few blocks, especially for a forward, and 5 hits. He is in that top 6 right now. He was always buried in the bottom 6, getting a little bit of PK time because he had his defensive liability. But 9 blocks to start. He's shown he's committed to the other side of the puck at least early on. So if that keeps up, he should be in the top 6, and he is an offensively minded player there. Next one's Tyler Seguin, listed as center right winger, owned in 65% of Yahoo leagues, so just right at our 65% cutoff. He's center on the second line, second power play unit. So far, 4 points in 3 games played, so really producing decently so far with 7 shots on goal. We know Seguin does have talent there. He is aging, but still a decent depth move, and 65% owned shows that owners are taking notice there. Next one is Anders Lee from the Islanders, listed as a left winger, only owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top line and top power play unit. So far, 3 points in 2 games played. He is kind of a streaky player, but he did have over 30 goals last year, over a point per game so far. Might be a decent depth move for you. Next one is Kevin Hayes in Philly, listed as a center, only owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues, probably because he barely played last year, on the top line, top power play unit, and second penalty kill unit. But he's playing on the top line with Konechny, and like Konechny, he is producing, has 3 points in the 2 games so far with 5 shots on goal. And as long as he can stay healthy with some of the bodies that have moved out, he's definitely going to be playing most of the primary offensive type situations, and with that, could be a decent depth piece for you. Next one is Matt Barzal from the Islanders, listed as a center, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues, centering that second line, and is on the top power play unit. He has 3 points so far in 2 games played with 7 shots on goal. He had a bit of a down year, still over 50 points last year, and he is the most offensive player on the Islanders. With Trotz moving out so far, it seems that they've opened it up so far. They scored 7 the other night there. So with that, Barzal should prove to be fantasy relevant this year. Next one is Chandler Stevenson in Vegas, listed as center right winger, owned in 40% of Yahoo leagues. On that second line, top power play unit and top PK unit. Really had kind of a breakout season last year with all the injuries in Vegas. And now this year it's more of the having to ship out bodies to be cap compliant kind of situation. And with that, he's producing. He has 3 points in 3 games played so far. No reason why he shouldn't be fantasy relevant for you. So it'd be a decent pickup, especially in a deeper league. And the last one's Mikael Granlund from Nashville, listed as a center, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues. Centers at top line, also plays on the top power play unit and second penalty kill unit. So far, putting up 3 points in 4 games played. Had a fairly decent season last year, continuing into this year. Has 8 shots on goal, so shooting the puck a little bit more, at least to start, and 7 hits, so throwing the body around. So might be a decent depth move for you, depending how your league is formatted. Do hope you did enjoy today's episode. We'll be out in a few days with another one. If you did like it, remember to hit like, hit subscribe. Remember that notification bell if you're watching via YouTube. If you're listening via podcast, remember to hit subscribe, hit that heart, hit follow, etc., depending what platform you're watching it on. And good luck in week 2 there, fantasy owners, and we'll talk to you soon.